You know, the beautiful thing about our national anthem is that it is a prayer. And when you take it to heart, it really means a lot. His Excellency, Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri, the Governor of Adamawa State, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency, Malang Abba Abubakar Aliyu, Dr. Ishaq Bello, the Special Assistant to the Honorable Minister for Livestock Development, Honorable Adamu Atiku Abubakar, Commissioner for Works and Energy Development, Honorable Felix B. Tangwami, Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Health, represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Zira Buba Nani. Honorable Umar Garba Pela, PhD, Commissioner for Education and Human Capital Development, Professor David Jatau Finchiwa, Commissioner for Agriculture, Honorable Titus Solomon, the Commissioner for Rural Infrastructure and Community Development, Honorable Chief Wumfe B. Anthony Tangalila of Nunguraba, we'll get it right, the Commissioner for Transportation of Adamawa State, Honorable Tijani Maksha, the Honorable Commissioner for Livestock and Aquaculture, the Executive Secretary, Adamawa Investment Promotion Agency, Mr. Haliru Malabu, Principal Special Assistant on Energy, Ibrahim Mundaye, the Permanent Secretary, Energy, Mr. Dogara Paul Musa, Executive Director, Technical Services, Engineer Umar Abdullahi Umar, Executive Director, Corporate Service of the Rural Electrification Agency, Honorable Ayoade Boyaga, the Head, Nigerian Electrification Project, Femi Akinyelure. I think I should put an engineer on that name. Engineer Tom of Special Mention in Egbidan from Edo State. You wonder why Edo State is here in Adamawa, but support is fantastically received. He is representing the Governor of Adamawa here today. Of Edo State, Your Excellency. It's just your presence that's taking these words away from me. The Executive Director, Rural Electrification Fund, Her Excellency, Honorable Engineer Doris Ubo, MNSE. She has joined us. You're welcome, ma'am. The President, Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria, Ayo Ademilua. The Consultant to Adamawa State on Energy, Zaharuddin Usman. Members of management of the Rural Electrification Agency, I recognize the presence of the Director Legal, Barrister Kashim, and the Director Promotions, Information and Outreach, Malam Muntari Ibrahim. Renewable Energy Service Companies, and today we'll refer you as RESCOs, here present, developers here present, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Okay, we have Mrs. Elsie Atafua, the UNDP resident representative, represented by Mr. Geoffrey. You're welcome. And then again, the Rural Electrification Agency and Adamawa State Government welcomes all of you to the Benue Hall of Transcorp Hilton, Borno Hall of Transcorp Hilton Hotel today, being the 3rd of March, 2025, for the REA state-by-state roundtable event with Adamawa State, with the theme Unleashing Market Opportunities for Decentralized Renewable Energy in the state called Adamawa. Adamawa State, also known as the Land of Beauty. Say Land of Beauty. They're very beautiful. Also known as the Land of Beauty, was established on August 27, 1991, alongside other states of Taraba and the former Gongola state, with Yola as its capital. Situated in the northeast of Nigeria, it covers a substantial land area of 36,970 square kilometers, ranking as the 8th largest state in Nigeria. You'd wonder, the state shares borders with Borno in the northwest, Gombe State to the west, and Taraba State to the southwest, while also having international borders with Cameroon. Ah, ça c'est bien. Mr. Governor, tu parles français? Ah, c'est bien. Adamawa State is divided into 3 senatorial districts, 8 federal constituencies, and 21 local government areas. Adamawa State stands as a testament to the resilience of its people and the amalgamation of diverse cultural elements. The historical journey of Adamawa continues to influence identity, making it a fascinating exploration of Nigeria's past and present. Indeed, this land of beauty, where rivers Gongola and Benue passes through, is led by a statesman of timber and caliber, in the person of His Excellency Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri. Governing the development of the state with an 8-point agenda where provision of electrification fits in squarely. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the governor once again with a rounding applause. And clap for yourselves for attending this wonderful event. I know I can't add that it's a land of beauty, milk and honey, but then again, I know they have a lot of milk and there should be honey there somewhere. Let's quickly invite to give us a welcome address Honorable Titus Solomon, the Commissioner for Rural Infrastructure and Community Development. Please put your hands together for Commissioner Titus. There's no steps, so you have to.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Adamawa State, the People's-Oriented Governor, the architect of modern Adamawa State, the Managing Director, REA, esteemed stakeholders and my colleagues, commissioners from Adamawa State, Your Excellency, permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Good morning and welcome to this important gathering. It is both an honor and privilege to stand before such a distinguished audience as we come together to explore a transformative opportunity for Adamawa State and our nation at large. Today's meeting, with the theme opening up opportunities for the private sector in distributed renewable energy, is a testament to our shared commitment to sustainable development, economic growth, and improved quality of life for our people. Let me begin by acknowledging the presence of the key leader who has been instrumental in driving progress in our state, His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Adamawa State, Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri, whose visionary leadership continues to pave way for innovative and development in our state. Thank you, Your Excellency. Let me also recognize the Honorable Minister, Livestock, and the Senior Special Assistant to His Excellency the President, who out of love for development of the state took time to join this milestone meeting. I thank you. Also with us is our development partner, the UNDP, who have been with us through our journey of reconstruction and rejuvenation. We welcome Ms. Elsie Atafua, who made time out of her busy schedule to be here. Your effort to make sure UNDP succeed in Nigeria cannot be overemphasized. Thank you. But like the proverbial Oliver Twist, we will always come asking for more. Our partners, the REA, led by its able and visionary leader, have been with us. Let me seize this opportunity to congratulate the team on confirmation of your appointment by His Excellency President Ahmed Bola Ahmed Tinubu. MD REA, Abba Aliu, and your team, congratulations. Our distinguished investors and developers, your presence here today underscores the importance of this initiative and the collective effort required to make it a success. Adamawa State is blessed with abundant natural resources, a vibrant population, and immense potential. Yet, like many regions across Nigeria, we face significant challenges in energy access and reliability. Millions of our people still lack access to electricity, and those who do often face inconsistent supply. This energy deficit limits economic growth, stifles innovation, and hampers quality of life for our citizens. But today, we are here to change the narrative. Distributed renewable energy offers a unique and scalable solution to our energy challenges. By leveraging solar, wind, hydro, and other renewable resources, we can provide clean, affordable, and reliable energy to homes, businesses, and communities across Adamawa State. The Adamawa State government is committed to creating an enabling environment for the private sector to strive in this space. We recognize that the private sector is the engine of innovation, investment, and implementation. To this end, we are taking concrete steps to unlock opportunities for you, our esteemed investors and developers. To our investors and developers, we say this: Adamawa State is open for business. The opportunities in distributed renewable energy are vast and untapped. From mini-grids to solar home system, from wind farms to small-scale hydro projects, the potential for growth and impact is immense. But beyond the financial returns, investing in renewable energy in Adamawa State is an opportunity to make a lasting difference. It is an opportunity to power schools, hospitals, and businesses. It is an opportunity to create jobs, reduce poverty, and improve the quality of life for millions. As we proceed with today's discussion, we encourage you to share your ideas, ask questions, and explore opportunities before you. The Adamawa State government is here to listen, to support, and to partner with you in every step of the way. Let us seize this moment together. Let us work hand in hand to build a future where energy is not a barrier, but a catalyst for growth and development. Let us make Adamawa State a model for renewable energy, innovation, and investment. Thank you for listening. Once again, you are all welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner Titus, on behalf of the people of Adamawa State, as directed by the Governor. To set the tone, what are we here for is none other than the Managing Director or Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency, Malang Abba Abubakar Aliyu. Please put your hands together for the man of the moment. I can't hear you, Clapper.
Your Excellency, before starting, I would like to share 3 things that I have learned in the little time that I've started engaging with His Excellency. The first was a lesson that I learned in the hard way when I was in his guest house. I learned that the Excellency Governor of Adamawa State is a tough negotiator. Don't ever try to negotiate with him without a backup. Your Excellency, you ambushed me that very day. We went to discuss how to electrify some communities in Adamawa State, and I went with the offer of like 3 transformers, but I ended up giving out 15 transformers. I'll never try it again. The second lesson that I've learned with Your Excellency is your level of timing. We scheduled to start this meeting exactly 10 o'clock, and 5 minutes to 10 you were here. You are a different breed of a politician. Thank you, Your Excellency. And the last one, which I would like it to be on record, Your Excellency, it's also the engagement that I've had with the consultant that Adamawa State engaged to develop the policy, the electricity policy. And that engagement with this consultant was more or less asking him about the scope of the work, how he would do the work, and our discussion got to the level that, oh, by the way, how did you end up getting this work, getting this consultancy? And to my sheer amazement, he said that he only developed his proposal and submitted it to the state government, and in one day he was just called and asked to make a presentation to a committee. He made that presentation and they did the evaluation, and he ended up getting that consultancy. This is a sheer testament of transparency and accountability. Thank you, Your Excellency. One of the key things that His Excellency keeps telling me is that for this event to take place, he wants it to be a real deal maker. So it's not going to be just coming, discussing, and going. No, he wants us to sign transaction. And Your Excellency, I assure you that today we are going to sign transaction for Adamawa State. We have what I call all the ingredients we needed to make Nigerian jollof rice. Godfrey, when you go, you tell the LC that we are making Nigerian jollof rice, not the Ghanaian jollof rice. We have the funding, we have the renewable energy service companies, we have the technical ability of the renewable service companies, and we have the financiers. Most of them international financiers. Only what they are just looking for is where to go and deploy their resources. And Your Excellency, the essence of this event today is for you to tell them, come to Adamawa State. Let them not come to my state, Kano State. Your Excellency, as a preview, we have REA has never gotten it this good in the history of the country. At this moment, Your Excellency, the total funding REA has is getting close to $2 billion. One person sitting here, Your Excellency, has $750 million in his pocket. Can you stand so that they will see you very well? Your Excellency, beyond that, just last 2 weeks, we were with the Honorable Minister of Power in Japan. And the essence of that visit is for us to further discussion for additional co-financing of the DES project to the total sum of $200 million. And I'm here to say that we have signed the initial agreement for that funding, and that funding will also be crystallized. Your Excellency, we are also pursuing additional funding of $250 million in collaboration for our Nobel project that we call EHEART, in discussion with the Indian Exim Bank and the Federal Ministry of Finance. So that is something also that we are looking at. And also, Your Excellency, in this year's budget, we have a funding provision of 140 billion naira. I wanted to say dollars, I'm used to dollars. 140 billion naira for our capital project intervention. The person responsible for that is also here, and he will tell you what he will do with that. Then, based on the magnanimity of Mr. President, we also secured additional funding financing from the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund of a total of 270 billion naira. This is all funding that are available. All what we are looking for is the subnational for us to partner with. I'll start my presentation now. Go back to the first slide. Your Excellency, what you are seeing here is in Adamawa State. This is a project that we are doing in Yola. Oh, this is Kasina. Okay, so we have the Adamawa project that I wanted us to highlight in Federal University of Yola. And it's a project that we are hoping to commission in the next 2 months. Next slide. Your Excellency, this is just to show you why the renewable energy is the way to go. Globally, the situation as regards to lack of electricity, it's not just a Nigerian issue, it's a global issue. Globally, there are over 600 million people that are without electricity. But even beyond that, there are about 1.9 billion people that do not have the reliable electricity. So they have the access, but there is lack of reliability. And it is known that globally, the best way of providing these people with electricity is through the distributed renewable energy sources. Next slide. Now, based on that, the Nigerian government is working to see the best way to address this challenge. And that is why the new Electrification Act was enacted, and the President signed the Electrification Act, which serve as a means to open the entire electricity value chain across the country, giving the opportunity for subnational to participate in the entire electricity value chain. And it is based on that act that we are having this discussion, engaging with the subnational for them to participate in that. So what we are doing currently, Your Excellency, is designing different projects that we would use to intervene in the different subnationals. And I mentioned some of them. The capital project, we have 140 billion, the money is there. For the Rural Electrification Fund, we already are in the process of starting the implementation of REF 3. You'll get more details of it. The EHEART, it is one of the model of intervention, an integrated model of intervening in the state that energize not only the rural communities but health, transport, education, and e-mobility. And this is the funding that we are expecting, at least $250 million to do that. Then we have the DES project, the $750 million. We already have started that with 40 interconnected mini grids that are about to commence any moment from that. Then we have the National Power Sector Solarization Initiative, 100 billion naira also for us to intervene in public institution, federal public institution. of which Your Excellency, I've told you already, we are intervening in Federal University of Technology in Yola, and we want to do more around College of Education and Polytechnics. We will take them, solarize them, and take them off the grid. Then we have a model project that is being supported by United Nations Development Program, UNDP. They provided us with this funding, of which we are deploying 23 mini grid in agricultural hub areas. That project already had commenced. Then we have the diesel, which is also a grant project funded by Jeff and the UNDP. The project is just creating access for the barest level of people to have the most minimum requirement for household to be able to lighten their houses and also have opportunity for their kids to read. Then we have the Korean project, also another intensive project that we intend to deploy about 2 megawatts in agricultural hub areas. Also, the project had already started. I've spoken about the renewed hub infrastructure fund, a total funding of 270 billion that will intervene in universities and some energizing some economic clusters. And I hope that one of the clusters will be in Adamawa State. Then we have the energizing agriculture, specially designed to help promote and incentivize agricultural production and reducing post-harvest losses. Then the energizing economies that we do around the market. Next slide. So, Your Excellency, the essence of this, as we are doing this and we are partnering with the state, one of the key things we said we need to do is let us have a dedicated plan. Let us have a way of intervening rather than ad hoc intervention in the different aspects of the communities. Let us have a plan that will guide us. And it is based on this, Your Excellency, that we map the entire country. And Adamawa State is one of the countries that we mapped. We mapped the country and we determined what is one plan of electrifying the entire country. The so-called 86 million Nigerians that are with the electricity, we want to identify them. Where are they? What is the nature of their electricity demand? What is their nature of occupation? What is the best least means of providing them with electricity? And that plan is what we're going to launch very soon in collaboration with the National Economic Council. The plan will give us one budget for electrifying the country, one plan, one conversation around the electrification in the country, so that all the subnational, all different stakeholders are coordinated towards one cause, towards providing electricity in the country. Next slide. So, Your Excellency, the scaling electrification, these are the key areas that we are now looking at. One of the things that we are saying is, Your Excellency, since we are saying that we have 86 million Nigerians without electricity, some people will see this 86 million as a challenge, as a problem. But Your Excellency, we want to turn it around to make it as an opportunity. We want to use Nigeria, Your Excellency, to make Nigeria to be the renewable hub of Africa. And this is something very doable, Your Excellency. We want to use our 86 million people to create a manufacturing value chain in country. And Your Excellency, I would like to tell you that this had already happened. To this date, we have crystallized the emergence of 250 megawatt PV panel assembly plant here in Abuja. We have crystallized another 100 megawatt PV panels assembly plant in Lagos by Lavin. The one in Abuja is done by JRB. We like to call names so that, Your Excellency, it's not a rhetoric, it's reality. People can go and check. And Your Excellency, we are about to sign a landmark agreement with IMPRACOF and MOFI and REA for the 1 gigawatt PV panel assembly plant in Nigeria. And this is something that will happen in very few time. Next slide. So, Your Excellency, narrowing it down to Adamawa State, as the outcome of our mapping, this is what we have seen. About 415,000 people can be connected to electricity using off-grid in Adamawa State. And there are 460 communities that are not without this access. And we estimated that we would have to create over almost 90,000 connections to electrify them. And the average potential PV requirements for these people is 1.679 kilowatt hour. And we also identified 703 off-grid educational facilities that will require this intervention, and 420 health centers, which shows the level of development in the Adamawa State. I don't know whether I should port from Kano and become an indigene of Yola now, Adamawa State, Your Excellency. Then we also identify the various agricultural crops being done within the community: sweet potatoes, maize, sorghum, rice, and groundnut. And we identify that some of these communities that are there have regional hubs that they can take their agricultural products. And we identify these hubs around BU, Jalingo, Jimeta, Lafia, Mubi, and Yola. So within these communities, they can move it into this for them to drive economic value of their produce. And in total, based on our mapping, Your Excellency, we identify all the local governments that are without this access. And the Hong local government, it's the one with the highest number of communities that are without access that require this intervention, followed by Michika, Song, Fufure, Mubinos, Mayo Belwa, Shelang, up to the Yola South that has least number of need. Your Excellency, all this data is available, and the rest course will be provided with this data for them to know where to quickly move. I'm very sure that some of the rest course are thinking of moving their offices to Hong by now. Next slide. Your Excellency, this is just to show you some of the sample of the mapping. This is one of the community in Hong that's without electrification. So it's not rhetoric, like I say, Your Excellency, it's reality. This is the community. We have identified the number of connections. We have identified the number of households that are within this community. We even know what is their current electricity demand, and we projected in the next 5 years what will be their demand of electricity in the next 5 years. All this, it's been identified. We know what is the best means of providing them with electricity. The next one, you will see another community. Next slide. It's in Mubi North. The community is called Muji. You can see the latitude and longitude of where the community is. You can see all the parameters needed to power and provide this electricity to this community. Next slide. This is another one in Sabongari Chambula in Madagali local government. With all the data, I'm very sure this is one of the darling of the rest course, because they look at communities that have a lot of connection, because the man with the $750 million pay per connection. He paid dollars per connection. So they're looking at communities that have a lot of connection, and this is, I'm very sure, before the end of this community will be signed off by one of the rest course. Next slide. So, Your Excellency, the opportunities, if all these 500 or 400 and something communities within Adamawa State, if we are to say we are going to uptake them now and electrify them, the economic multiplier effects it will create for Adamawa State cannot be overstated. We estimate that we can attract $1.9 billion investment to provide the level of electrification need for these communities. And we are looking at, if that is done, it can increase the gross domestic product of the state by at least $3.7 billion. And this is something that should be done. For job creation, we're looking at direct job creation of close to 40,000 jobs without the interdependent job creation that the electrification can create. So, Your Excellency, we have the rice, we have the electric stove, we have the tomatoes, we have the pepper, we have the Maggi. All what is required, Your Excellency, is today we must cook this Nigerian jollof rice. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Can we put our hands once again for the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Abubakar Aliyu. While he sits, let me quickly invite for a 5-minute goodwill message Ms. Elsie Atafwa, who is ably represented by Geoffrey, the UNDP resident representative. Please put your hands together for Geoffrey.
Allow me to, Your Excellency, first stand on the existing protocols, but start by, first of all, a small disclaimer that I'm not Madam Elsie Atafwa, but I'm our resident representative, who, Your Excellency, just came from a whistle-stop tour of Cross River, Abia State, and Akwa Ibom, so it has other engagements. Would really have liked to be here, but would like me to pass her personal message that she'll find her way to the land of beauty, and we'll be able to have an opportunity to discuss with you this in due course. Secondly, allow me also to lay a matter that has been raised by the MD REA to rest, the matter of Ghanaian jollof or Nigerian jollof. I know it's a controversy that has been running for a while, and Madam Elsie, coming from Ghana, still insists that Ghanaian jollof is the best. However, as a neutral player coming from Kenya, I promise that I'm ready to arbitrate. All you need to do, however, is to reduce the pepper in that jollof rice. That will help me be able to effectively bring my taste buds up and help resolve this huge issue. But, Your Excellency, Governor, MD REA, it's a great pleasure for me to stand here today to associate UNDP with the great initiative that's going on and these state-to-state engagements that are going to breathe to life one of the game-changing pieces of laws that have come into this country, the Electricity Act 2023. UNDP is proud to have partnered and worked with the Ministry of Power and other stakeholders in developing the National Integrated Electricity Policy that is just awaiting approval by the Federal Executive Council that will usher in this new transformative regime that deregulates the electricity sector, giving the state governments a lot more control and decision-making apparatus to unleash the massive opportunities that we see in Nigeria's energy sector. And we are very, very proud to have particularly partnered with other partners like the World Bank, GIZ, AFDB, and provided our inputs into this policy that we believe will provide a lot of support to the states as you start to make your markets come to life. We believe, like the states like Enugu have started, Lagos have already started, many more states will be starting to put these markets in place, and I'm very, very glad, Your Excellency, to note that already Adamawa is working on the policy framework that will usher in this new regime, and congratulations to that, Your Excellency. Secondly, we were also honored just last week, I think we were with the MD, to also attend another milestone historic event whereby Nigeria's integrated resource plan was officially unveiled to the public. This resource plan is a critical resource that helps investors to see the various opportunities of supporting Nigeria's electrification. And we are really glad, and we believe that the new integrated resource plan, Your Excellency, is a useful opportunity for Adamawa to plug in to try and get all of these useful energy resources up so that the investors can be able to know which ones they need to join in. And we believe that Nigeria's Vision 30-30-30, that is, attaining 30 gigawatts of renewables by the year 2030, and at least meeting 30% of your electricity grid being renewable is attainable through both the policy that has been prepared and the new Nigeria Integrated Resource Plan. So on behalf of UNDP, we would like to congratulate the federal government of Nigeria and the state governments of Nigeria with these two very important developments that will just provide the policy certainty needed by investors to really invest in this area. As I conclude, allow me to weigh in on how UNDP views the future and the opportunities of making these markets marketable. It's the point of productive use capabilities. It's important that as we increase the distributed renewable energy resources, as we grow Nigeria's grid, as we increase the renewables, we also increase the area of powering progress. And that's why we are very, very glad, MD, to associate ourselves with the eHeart initiative that is electrifying health, education, agriculture, rural communities, and transportation, which is a significant opportunities of getting these social sectors powered to unleash the productive use capacities that can be able to make Nigerian businesses pay for this new energy that's coming into face. And so I want to also congratulate the REA for coming up with that initiative, and UNDP, through our Nigeria Integrated Clean Energy Offer, will be working with you, the federal government, the state governments, and the REA particularly, to support all these initiatives, leveraging our global mandate and also our ability to convene other partners and also knowledge to ensure that the developments in this area can be able to meet the huge transformative potential that we see in this sector. Without much ado, allow me to rest on that and thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank God he mentioned about the clean energy program that they have, because I was about to ask him to pay for the additional 2 minutes he took. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rural Electrification Agency works as a team, and Mala Abba Abubakar Aliyu leads this team efficiently. And the team is made up of the Rural Electrification Fund, the technical services, the corporate services, as well as the Nigerian Electrification Project. I will invite for a 15-minute presentation the Executive Director, Rural Education Fund, Honorable Engineer Doris Ubo, to please step forward to give us a presentation. Please put your hands together for her.
Good morning, Your Excellency, Executive Governor of Adamawa State, my capacity MD, REA. Permit me to stand on already established protocol. I cannot come on this podium to speak without intervening in the jollof rice matter. But MD, you'll be happy to know that even at Ghanaian parties, Madam LC representative, even at Ghanaian parties, they serve Nigerian jollof rice. So that puts it to rest. Thank you everyone for coming to grace this program this morning. As you well know, Your Excellency, the EA Act of 2023 has empowered the subnationals to develop their own electricity market, and also empowered REA and other government agencies to partner with subnationals, especially with the state matching program that we have on hand. And you also see that we are definitely in line with what the federal government is doing, because right now different parastatals are unveiling different projects. Like 2 days ago, I saw on the irrigation Nigerian project by, I think, our Ministry of Agriculture. And a few days before that was also the Ministry of Health unveiling their own, I think, retrofitting and remodeling and trying to create more health PHCs and making them more viable for working for the doctors. But REA went a step further. We've been able to piece all of this together to come up with a program called the eHeart. Not your physical heart, but the acronym just happened to spell like that. eHeart stands for Energizing Health, Education, Agric, Rural Communities, and Transportation via e-mobility. And you'd ask us, why did we decide to do this? But before I delve into that, let me tell you a little bit about Rural Electrification Fund. That's our department. We are one of the arms, like the MC said, that works together with the MD to make sure that we are all on the same page, making sure that the federal government initiative is being brought to bear, especially closing the energy gap that we have by providing access to unserved, underserved communities of Nigeria. We all know that our rural communities, most of them have almost no access to electricity. So from, can you go back a little bit, please? Let's go back. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so in REA, in REF, we have done quite a few initiatives, as you can see on the board. We have done some REF calls, which is projects that comes directly from the department. We partnered with our EU government and European Union for a program called the IMAS Integrated Mini-Grid Acceleration Scheme, where over 23 communities have been energized. And the project is currently going on. If you watched TV a few days ago, you see us in Plateau State and in Niger State commissioning some of these projects. The project in Niger State was almost 1 megawatt and is also currently being scaled up. We have Energizing Economy, excuse me, where we partner with the private sectors to energize our markets, Sabongari market, Ikmori market, so many markets across the all geopolitical zones. We have the DSOL program where we partner with UNDP, the GCIP with UNEDO, different initiatives, and they're all currently running. So far from REF, we have commissioned over 124 mini grids. As at the time we put this program together, it was 124, but I can assure you it's almost 130 mini grids because we've been doing a lot of commissioning since then. We have we have deployed also over 25,000 solar home systems, created over 18,000 SMEs. That is no small feat. 18,000 SMEs across the nation. We have also created over 26,000 jobs. The total capacity of our mini grid is over 16 megawatts total, over 195,000 connections across the 36 states. We have impacted on 183 communities, and like I said earlier, 12 markets have been energized by our initiatives. Next slide. On this slide, you see some of the communities that we have energized, especially the ones that were with zero access to electricity. Like one that really comes to mind is the Rafin Zufi community, where for over 100 years, they have never had access to it. Rafin Zufi, by the way, is just next door to Gwagwalada, believe it or not. And they have never had access to light till REA came to their rescue. This project was commissioned in September, I believe, last year, and today they are already asking for scaling. We gave them 100 kilowatts, and today they are asking to be scaled up to at least 200 kilowatts. This is, Your Excellency, what the presence of electricity can do in a community. Without light, no matter any initiative you put there, you most likely will not have the kind of impact that you want unless you energize that community. So we have Oloyon community, we have other communities, Sule Camp in Edo State, and other initiatives. Next slide. That brings me to the EHAD project. EHAD project, like the MD rightly said, is a project that really has the rural community at hand. Also really in line with creating that access to electricity. Not only that, but if this vision 2030 is going to be realized, we have to scale. We have to move up from what we're doing right now, which is doing one community by just energizing and not really impacting on what we want. We do that. Health sector is not really tapping into it. The education sector is not tapping into it. Even the rural transportation, because you do all of this, you go to most rural communities, they have zero presence of gas station, filling station. And how do you get your produce from your farm to the next market hub? So it's a huge problem. How do you protect your crops? If you produce too much, there's no storage capacity because there's no light. There's no even access to increasing your food production because there's no light. So, Your Excellency, we decided to put all of this together and make it one project, and empowering one community at a time, making sure that when you're done with a community, they have everything they need to begin to unlock their potentials, to begin to crystallize and upscale their livelihood. So we came up with the EHAD. EHAD is a project that we're going to partner with the subnationals, where REA is going to incentivize this project by providing 60% of capex, while state government will bring in 30%. And the most important aspect, it might sound small, but the most important aspect is the developers bringing in their 10%. The reason I said it's most important because REA has gone a step further to make sure their projects are sustained. And the only way you can do sustainability is to tie the developer to that project. Later on, I'll talk more on that. So the EHAD, like I said, is going to energize health. So primary healthcare centers and the beneficiary communities must be empowered, must be energized. That is, it's like one of the reasons why we pick a community. That first you must have a functional and in-use primary healthcare center. So that primary healthcare center will be one of the biggest beneficiaries of the 100 kilowatts that will be provided to beneficiary communities. Next will be education, meaning any education infrastructure, like the MD said earlier. I think you have over 703 educational facilities. So in this facility, in these communities, these educational facilities also will be energized. Then the agricultural sector. Most of the villages in Nigeria are all agrarian or mostly agrarian communities. So agricultural sector is going to provide, we're going to provide them with solar water pumps. We're going to provide them with storage facilities. Solar water pumps capacity of about 1.5 horsepower that will enable them to water their farms. So farm produce will not be just seasonal anymore. So it will be round the clock, that you have the ability to make sure your farm is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing for you. Most farmers these days don't have access to watering their crops because of lack of these things we're talking about. And after producing, I'll tell you a story. Funny enough, this story came from your state, Your Excellency. A dairy farmer that came when we had this presentation in December, I gave us a heartbreaking story whereby after 3 or 4 days, they have to throw away their produce because of lack of storage facility and because of lack of electricity. And this really was one of the reasons why we factored in the storage facility, Your Excellency. So you can imagine how this is going to catalyze that kind of product. So food production is high on our agenda, keying in into what the federal government is doing, and that is why we're doing that. So you ask, what about the community itself? That's the fourth component, rural communities. So with 100 kilowatts, once you prioritize the health, you prioritize the education and agric, you have the rest for the rural communities, and this would definitely scale up production. It would boost SMEs capacity in that particular community. You can imagine small businesses who have nothing to do because they have no access to light. Light really is life. Does anybody differ? Light is life. And that is the angle where the REA is looking at it from. If you work with MD Abba Aliu Abubakar, you have no choice but to key into something that really energizes the rural communities, which is uppermost on his mind. And that is why you see most of our programs would tailor it towards the rural communities, because over 60% of our population reside in the rural community. And this population have no access to light. In this modern age of 2025, I don't think we should be talking about not having access to electricity. That is why he has brought it to the front burner of the agency, and that's what we are all keying into. Next is transportation. Like I said earlier, most rural communities have no access to filling stations. They have to make do with whatever solution they can provide, which is almost nothing. And that is why we're incorporating transportation via e-mobility, meaning electric tricycles, electric vehicles where they can afford it, but most importantly, electric tricycles. Something, not luxury, but enable them to transport their goods from the farm to the nearest market hub. And this way, if they will have EV stations for charging. They will also have what we call a battery kiosk, where an operator of that batteries kiosk will have access to about 50 batteries already charged. So anybody with e-keke will come in, drop their dead battery, and rent an already charged battery for a small fee, of course. And this will, the turnaround of business has also been mitigated. Next slide, please. So, Your Excellency, your question would be, so how do we, what am I talking about? Our vision, we started by saying, okay, let's energize health. Then we scaled it up to let's energize 100 communities per state. That will give you 3,700 community across board. 100 community per state is not a small feat. 3,700 communities, meaning infusing clean energy of 370 megawatts into our energy space. But for financing and for, dare I say, doubting Thomas who think REA cannot do it, we said, okay, let's phase it. Let's make it in phases. So the phase one is going to have 925 communities, meaning 25 communities per state. 25 communities, 100 megawatts each, Your Excellency. That's infusing 2.5 megawatts of clean energy subsidized by federal government through REA into your state. 2.5 megawatts. You can clap for me at this point. Thank you. 2.5 megawatts is a lot. The impact is huge. What we intend to do with this is to impact on 25 primary healthcare centers, 25 mini-grids, 25 communities, over 1,000 solar water pumps in your state alone, and create direct job across board of over 92,000 with storage facilities, charging stations. The list goes on and on. So what we're doing, Your Excellency, is bringing solution where people think is not possible. Because with my MD, everything is possible. Even if you say raise $10 billion, he won't even bat an eye, because he already knows where to look, starting with you, Your Excellency. Thank you. So we did, like he said, like the MD mentioned earlier, we did geospatial assessment of different communities in the entire country. And for Adamawa State, next slide please. For Adamawa State, we picked these communities, and you can see Sorau community, Mada, Laro, Ketembere, if I butcher it, please pardon me, Damatari and Bodway. These communities, Your Excellency, you can see the estimated number of connections. And this is just putting it mildly. In places where they don't think connection is possible, we can make it possible. 1,400 total of all of this. And this is just 6 local governments. So we can actually avail electricity to over 8,000 households. 8,000. If you add it all up together, it's 8,442 connections. Not 8,000 people, just the connections, so you can imagine. And we went even deeper to find out they're all agrarian areas. What are the crops here? We have maize, sorghum, groundnut, rice, cowpeas. It goes on and on. Next slide, please. So with the impact of the project we are talking about, the EHAT project, we did a deep dive to see this agricultural produce in these communities. If we'll impact on them with these projects we're talking about, what are they looking at? What is the state government looking at? Why should they partner with REA? And you can see the number of hectares that are lying fallow, not being taken advantage of. You can see the total crop value. You can see Ketembere has a capacity to have over $1 million crop value per year. You can see it even broken down to per hectare. So this is what we bring to the table, Your Excellency. We're not coming empty-handed. This is what we bring to the table. You can't have it better than this. Trust me. But this does not come without its challenges, Your Excellency. We have vandalism and theft. We have security issues. We have some logistic barriers. And we have lack of awareness, because most people in this community don't even know that this kind of opportunity is before them. So what we are bringing is will allow you to unlock your potentials. It will allow you to increase and modernize the livelihood of people in your community, should you partner with REA. What is the way forward, you may ask? For us in REA, what we bring with this project, next slide please. What we bring with this project is to lead the project coordination, develop legal framework, because you cannot put all these things together without adhering to federal government and even state government, now that you're empowered to have your own electricity market. The legal framework for both state and federal governments will be put together, and REA will do that. We'll create a one-stop shop to coordinate all permits and approvals. And sustainability, I want to leave it for the last, because my colleague will talk about that, but I'll talk a little bit. And then the state government have to provide, of course, the land, retrofit your your PHCs or your schools so that they can be energized, because you cannot energize a school that is not being used or a PHC that is not being used. Then the private sector will also attract private sector investment, over $2 billion, that some of them are sitting here today, into your state and into these communities, for them to begin to grow these communities for you. And what does the community stand to benefit? Of course, they will benefit a lot from all these things that we have presented. But what does the state? State will unlock their potentials. Job creation. Job creation, you can imagine, the MD touched a little bit on that when he presented. Each of these community, direct job is nothing less than 500 in each community, not to talk of the indirect job. They'll have increase in your IGR, definitely, a reduction in poverty and urban migration also, and boost in small businesses. I can't say that enough. And I always add in any of these presentations that villagers are one of the most hardworking people I know. People in rural communities are very hardworking, even with the little that they have. So you can imagine, Your Excellency, the growth and the potentials that you will be unlocking if you partner with REA. I pray that you do this because this program, when it was unveiled, we already had 2 meetings with the subnationals where all the commissioners for all of these sectors, we had a meeting with them in December. We had a second meeting in January where they were told how they will put together state steering committees, because we definitely need committees to be able to coordinate all of these programs state by state. So state steering committee also will be working with national steering committees. That's the level where we are now. The communities that we have mapped state by, we go a step further, that look at this, because we don't want to look as if we're just ramming this down your throat. Look at the communities that we have mapped. Should you have a need to amend it, because you're the one on ground, you obviously know more than us. Should you have the need to amend and add or change, you let us know. But I can tell Your Excellency that your state has your list, and every state has the opportunity to click onto this and benefit from it, 25 communities at a time. Thank you very much.
Please put your hands once again for Her Excellency Honorable Engineer Doris Ubu, MNSE. She's my boss, so I got to tell her time is up and all that. You understand? I don't want to be shifted to a different direction. Ladies and gentlemen, with the permission of His Excellency and also the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency, we'll have to rearrange the program a little bit, and I hope you will bear with us on this activity. We want to invite immediately to come and speak to us a statesman of essence, of timber, of caliber. His Excellency, the Governor of Adamawa State, Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri. Please put your hands together for him.
Thank you. Sit down. The MD of REA, let me respectfully adopt the already established protocol and to say Ramadan Kareem. It is with great honor that I welcome you to this landmark roundtable with the theme Empowering Adamawa, Unlocking Private Sector Opportunities in Distributed Renewable Energy. This is yet another opportunity to market Adamawa State for investment, as I have always done. For the past 6 years, I have taken it upon myself the task of salesmanship that is not only evidence in sharing opportunities and prospects with investors, but demonstrated by the success we are achieving and where we have already taken the state to in terms of performance and ranking. Over the years, Adamawa State has witnessed significant transformation across various sectors, fueled by strategic reforms, targeted investment, and deliberate policy actions aimed at fostering sustainable development, economic growth, and improved public service delivery. The state has remained a key player in Nigeria's economic landscape, with its economy largely driven by agriculture, commerce, and public sector activities. We have continued to implement progressive economic policies to enhance productivity and create conducive environment for investment. One of the key highlights of our economic advancement has been our ease of doing business score, which improved from 5.25 in 2021 to 5.86 in 2023, resulting in plus 10 position climb in the national ranking. This equally reflects the successful implementation of reforms aimed at reducing bureaucratic bottlenecks and making Adamawa State a more investor-friendly destination. Our internally generated revenue has also witnessed growth, driven by improved tax collection mechanism, digital financial management, and expanded economic activities. The State Fiscal Transparency League table ranked Adamawa in the top 5 in Nigeria, first quarter of 2023. This reflecting our commitment to financial accountability and good governance. We have significantly improved our financial reporting, procurement processes, and public expenditure management. The implementation of digital financial platforms and e-procurement systems has enhanced efficiency, reduced corruption risks, and ensured judicious use of public funds. We have prioritized infrastructural development as a catalyst for economic growth through strategic partnership and targeted funding. We have executed numerous projects aimed at rural electrification, rural reconstruction, and public facility upgrades. We have successfully executed over 30 rural electrification projects, impacting thousands of households across multiple local government areas in the state. We have spent over 3 billion naira to improve energy access through rural electrification. These projects have contributed significantly to rural development, enhancing productivity in agriculture, commerce, and social services. Our state action on business enabling reforms, SEBA, program has been instrumental in fostering a competitive business environment through digital transformation and regulatory reforms. We have reduced business registration timelines, automated government services, and improved transparency in land transactions. This has led to surge in private sector interest across key sectors such as agriculture, transportation, manufacturing, and trade, and now renewable energy. We recently received an investor who expressed interest to develop 300 megawatt solar PV farm project in Adamawa State. We have also made significant progress in education, healthcare, and skills development, ensuring that our students have access to quality services. In consideration of the need to build the capacity of our students to be able to design, install, and manage solar energy projects, we have recently partnered with an indigenous company to train at least 1,000 Adamawa students across 21 local government areas annually in solar photovoltaic installation. This is in order to have a readily available workforce for any prospective distributed renewable energy project in our state. As a government, our journey towards a modern, sustainable, and energy future is well underway. The progressive framework established by the Electricity Act 2023, combined with our ongoing development of the state electricity policy, is a clear demonstration of our proactive approach. Yet, as we all know, the true strength of any policy lies in its collaborative formulation. While this policy is still under formulation, it provides a unique opportunity for you to also offer your valuable insights and recommendations, ensuring that all it is comprehensive, innovative, and truly reflective of the needs of our energy landscape that will attract investment opportunities for the renewable energy services companies, RESCOs. Our vision is bold. The vision behind our state electricity policy is clear: to create a vibrant, investor-friendly energy ecosystem where public-private partnership can thrive. We aspire to see an Adamawa state where distributed renewable energy solutions power every community, where robust mini-grids connect remote communities, and where our agriculture and transportation sectors are transformed by clean and sustainable energy innovation. Thank you. While appreciating that there exists a huge opportunity in empowering our social services delivery institutions, such as health and education, with a huge population and thriving demography that is eager for service, we can see clearly immediate tremendous investment opportunity for rescues in the following areas: electrification in underserved and unserved areas. Adamawa State is committed to extending reliable, affordable electricity to every community, distributed renewable energy solution such as isolated solar mini-grids, interconnected mini-grids, and stand-alone systems will bring light and power to our remote communities and underserved peri-urban areas which will stimulate local economic growth and improve quality of life. Agricultural sector is the cornerstone of our economy. Investment in renewable energy such as solar-powered irrigation system and agro-processing facilities will boost productivity, reduce post-harvest losses, and add significant value to our food crops. This integration is critical to driving rural development and ensuring food security not just for Adamawa State, but for Nigeria as a whole. Transportation. With the global shift towards sustainable mobility, there is a growing opportunity to invest in the electrification of our transport sector. Developing charging infrastructure for electric vehicles and supporting clean energy-powered public transit system will reduce urban pollution and enhance overall transportation efficiency. Likewise, opportunities exist for transportation of farm produce from our remote communities. To further enhance the attractiveness of these investment opportunities, I am pleased to state that we are ready to provide maximum comfort to willing investors coming into the state by providing a range of prospective financial incentives such as tax holidays, credit guarantees, concessional financing options, and grant for pilot projects. These incentives are aimed to mitigate risks and create a favorable environment for private sector investment, ensuring that Adamawa State becomes a magnet for innovative renewable energy projects. Even though the state has a little or no control over import duty waivers, we aim to partner with the federal government to ensure reduced import duties on renewable energy equipment. I'm aware a lot of effort is already being done by the federal government. As we continue to this discussion today, I encourage you to engage openly, challenge conventional approaches, and propose innovative solutions that can bridge the gap between policy and practice. Let us work together to forge partnership and extend beyond this room, ensuring that our collective efforts lay a foundation for a sustainable and prosperous Adamawa State. One thing I can assure you is that as a government, no obligation is ours. None of our obligation will be left unattended to. So you can take our words to the bank. We are the corps of transformation. Our economic reform, fiscal transparency, infrastructural projects, and digital initiatives have set the foundation for sustainable growth and investment attraction. I urge all stakeholders, investors, and development partners to continue working with us in unlocking Adamawa's full potential. Together, we will build a prosperous, inclusive, and energy-secured Adamawa State. Thank you once again for your presence, your expertise, and your commitment to this transformative journey. Our special gratitude goes to the MD of REA and the team for this innovative initiative. I am confident that together we will empower Adamawa and illuminate the path to a brighter and greener future. For our students, I extend a hand of friendship and partnership that is already deep in building Adamawa State, where no one is left behind and nothing is left untouched. Thank you and God bless you.
Can we put our hands together for His Excellency, Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri? Yes. Please bring the table forward for the MOU signing ceremony. Can I please invite the Director Legal Services of REA, Barrister Kashim Ibrahim, to please come forward? Can I also invite the Executive Directors of the Rural Electrification Agency to please come forward to witness? And the Head Nigerian Electrification Program. Can I please invite, you can just stay from behind, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Rural Electrification Agency, Abba Abubakar Aliyu, to please come forward. And also to sign on behalf of the government of Adamawa State, as directed by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Adamawa State, is Honorable Atiku, the Honorable Commissioner for Works and Energy, Adamawa State. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the major events that, part of the event that brings us here today is the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Adamawa State Government and the Rural Electrification Agency. And as I mentioned, those who are here, okay, other commissioners are joining. The ceremony will start in earnest with the signing. Your Excellencies, please. Thank you. Can I please invite the Governor of Adamawa State, Right Honorable Ahmadu Fintiri, to please come and receive the signed MOU. Yes, okay. Okay. Very well. Help me with that. Chinere. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please clap for yourselves. This is one historic event that would lead to benefits not only for the people here that are witnessing or those who are watching us live, but the people that matter, the people that are in the room. Health, the Commissioner of Health is here. Energizing Education, the Commissioner of Education is here. Energizing Agriculture, the Commissioner of Agriculture is here. Energizing Rural Development, the Commissioner in charge of Rural Development is here. And also Energizing Transportation, the Commissioner of Transportation is here, as well as people that matter in the state. To continue this activity, I have the honor of inviting to learn more about what we do in the Rural Education Agency, especially when it comes to its capital arm, the Technical Services, the Executive Director of Technical Services, Engineer Umar Abdullahi Umar. Please put your hands together for him as he comes.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, members of the Adamawa State Executive Council, my elder brother, the MD REA, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on existing protocol. I think the presentations before mine have taken a lot of time, so I'll try, to the MD's permission, I'll make mine very quick. Maybe I'll put it in just 5 minutes. Your Excellency, we have a lot of developers and rescuers in this room presently at this roundtable. And part of the aim of this roundtable is the deployment of solar mini grids to bridge electricity access gap in Adamawa State. So I would just like to take us back to a basic question from the point of standards and technical services. What is a solar mini grid? Your Excellency, a solar mini grid is just a system that generates power, stores this power and distributes it to rural communities or targeted communities. Being a system, of course, it has different components such as the solar panels, such as the battery storage, such as the distribution infrastructure, monitoring infrastructure, and so on and so forth. So, Your Excellency, I would like to, I'm sure we're all familiar with solar panels. We've seen them in our offices, in our homes. But it will interest Your Excellency to know that solar panels have been in existence for about 180 years. I don't think there's anyone in this room that is 180 years. Maybe with the exception of our EDCS with the white bed. So, Your Excellency, 180 years. And what happened in 180 years? That was the first time you mentioned in your speech photovoltaic effect. For us that are engineers, that was the first time light was converted to electricity. After that, a couple of years after that, we now had the first solar panel that was discovered. It was made of a product element called selenium. It had just about 1% efficiency. Meaning if you had it, it was going to collect solar rays, only 1% of it could be converted to electricity. And over the years, Your Excellency, this technology has evolved. In about 1954, that was the first time that solar panels were used, were commercialized in their uses. And at that point, the efficiency of solar panels was just about 4%. Over the years, we've had more innovations, more advancements in this. And you can see presently, at this point, we now have solar panels of over 25% efficiency in the world right now. And these solar panels are mainly made up of element silicon, which has to do with 90% of what we have in the market presently. So, Your Excellency, this is just to give you some context to some of these technologies that we talk about every day when we talk about this kind of projects. Another key component of a solar mini grid is that of the battery storage system. Your Excellency, storage system has even existed, it has even predated solar panels. They've been existent for about 300 years. At that point, Your Excellency, I think even our EDCS was not born when energy storage was discovered. But from capacitors, we had also lead acid batteries at that point. But over the years, that technology, to Your Excellency, has evolved. Milestone in that technology was in the 1990s when the lithium-ion batteries were discovered. And from then on till now, that has been the dominant technology in the market. We have different types of batteries, of course, presently, like the advanced lithium battery, the lithium air, zinc air, supercapacitors, name them. But this just shows, Your Excellency, how efficiency has grown in this products and these technologies over the years. And now coming to Nigeria and solar mini grids in Nigeria, Your Excellency, it might interest you to know that the countries in the world that have the highest potential for solar mini grids are the countries that are situated along the equatorial of the Earth. That is from the center point of the Earth to about 10 degrees north and 10 degrees south. And Nigeria falls under this region. And what has been found in these countries is that within this region is that they have the highest radiation insolation rate. Apart from that, other characteristics of these regions is these countries tend to have warm climate. They tend to have uniform temperature across the year. They also tend to have uniform or similar amount of day and night, like we do in Nigeria. So, Your Excellency, just to do some context when we're talking about solar mini grid, you can imagine developing a solar mini grid in maybe a country that is located at the polar sections of the Earth. Countries whereby you might have 4 hours of daytime, for instance, and 20 hours of nighttime. You know the implication for how much batteries you would need to store energy for 20 hours. So this just shows how, based on this, we now talk about our technical standards. That is why it's unique to Nigeria and it's unique to REA. So we look at global standards and we look at, based on where we are situated in the globe, we also tailor our own technical standards to align with that. So Your Excellency, we've done a lot at REA in our technical standards. We have standards for almost everything. We have standards for solar panels, for batteries. In fact, even the way the batteries are mounted, when you see them being mounted, is about 10 to 15 degrees is the tilting angle. It has been shown that that's the optimal tilting angle to be able to collect radiation. And when we even talk about Adamawa, Your Excellency, as a state, that's what we're talking about today. The average radiation rate of northern Nigeria is about 25 watts per mega squared. Meanwhile, the radiation average rate in southern Nigeria is about 12.6. So you can see there's more radiation in the north, where Adamawa falls under. So you can see, Your Excellency, definitely there's a lot of potential for solar mini grids to be deployed in Adamawa state. MD, I don't want to take much time. Maybe I'll just go through the slides quickly. Next slide, please. Okay. Your Excellency, you can see at the capital, which is what is appropriated by the federal government, we've done a lot of projects from grid extension, mini grid, solar home systems. You can see the numbers we've done. Over 1,000 transformers in the last about 5 years. Number of solar home systems deployed, over 70,000 solar street lights. So we've achieved a lot. And you can also see what have been achieved for Adamawa State. Also in the last 5 years, Adamawa has not been left behind. Next slide, please. Your Excellency, these are just pictorial pictures from some of our successful projects we commissioned in Adamawa State. REA has supported over 500 farmers with 103 solar-powered irrigation pumps. You can see a mini grid in some communities. In Fufure, Mayo, Belwa, you can see some solar home systems, and you can also see some grid extension and solar street light project. Next slide. Areas of collaboration, Your Excellency, we know we can definitely collaborate. Joint project development. Presently, we are developing a 320 kilowatt peak small hydro project in your just neighboring state, Gombe State, together with UNIDO. So apart from solar mini grids, we also look at other forms of renewable energy, such as the small hydro, such as the wind, such as biomass. So we could also collaborate with Adamawa State definitely on that. Harmonized technical standards, I think I've spoken a bit to the context of what we do. Capacity building. Your Excellency, it might interest you to know, for last year our budget was about 111 billion naira. Out of this 111 billion naira, more than half of this budget, the surveys were actually done by geospatial analysis. Meaning we're able to design these projects without even going to sites. We use a lot of desktop tools and softwares to achieve this, and part of the mandate given to us by the MD at the technical services is how we can make sure we can almost design all our projects 100% just using desktop geospatial analysis, and we are working hard on that, Your Excellency. And this is something definitely we could assist the Adamawa State government with. Next slide. This talks about standards. I think I've given a bit context. I don't want to take too much more time on this. Next slide. So, Your Excellency, I think I will call this the end of my presentation, and we look forward to having good deliberations and good objectives from this summit. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know about you, but honestly, he had 5 minutes remaining. Now, that's a good one. Put your hands together once again for the Executive Director, Technical Services. We now move to the head of the $750 million activity. Oh, sorry, I mean the head of the Nigerian Electrification Project. Femi Akinyilere, please come forward, sir.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Good afternoon, MD. Let me stand on existing protocol. I think the MC has just made my life a lot harder than the MD did, because if you noticed, the governor during his speech was looking firmly in one direction, and I was trying to gain other people's attention to ensure that my eyes don't lock, because my MD has advised me that if I try to negotiate, we might not have any other states benefiting from this. Your Excellency, the Nigeria Electrification Program, as we know it, is responsible for implementing a number of projects that are funded by the World Bank and the Africa Development Bank. In 2018, the first bank project, the World Bank Energy Access Project, was launched. And Your Excellency, you would have heard a number of projects described during this presentation, and just to let you know that even though we implement similar projects, solar mini grids, standalone systems, the mode and the design of the projects is what differs really along funding pathways. And very, very crucial to that is the sustainability of those projects as we go along. I'll just say at the beginning, Your Excellency, that when you deploy these projects without that sustainability is what gives us the bad news at the end of the day. And what ensures that we have that sustainability is always to ensure, no matter how small, there's some payment, especially when it comes to renewable energy. O&M is more even important than the deployment itself. So no matter how small the cost is, we always want to ensure that there's some form of payment for operations and maintenance on a long term, especially when they are not social interventions like the healthcare and education, which I will get to later on. So, Your Excellency, the World Bank, the first World Bank project came to a close in December. And across a couple of years, we were able to deploy at least about 200 mini grids, over 1.4 million solar home systems across the country. We were also able to deploy 100 50 kilowatt mini grids to 100 hospitals across the country. And I will show later on, Your Excellency, the hospitals in Adamawa State. We were also able to electrify 7 universities and 2 teaching hospitals under the Energizing Education Program, which we are currently working on a long-term O&M program for as we speak. In addition, Your Excellency, the Africa Development Bank, on the other hand, they have we're running a program that deploys hybrid mini grids. We also have a component specifically for productive use. In this presentation today, we've heard a lot about the importance of productive use in the sustainability of this project. We also have the phase 3 of this Energizing Universities program, which cuts across 8 universities and 1 teaching hospital. And we have one of those universities in Adamawa State, Your Excellency, a 5 megawatt project, Modibo Adamawa University. Next slide, please. So, Your Excellency, as I said earlier, we started with one project, and based on the successes on that project is why we have this new 750 million commitment that we have in the new program. And we've designed that program based off of a lot of lessons that we learned, and I'll just go through a number of them, which ranges from access to finance to data sharing. Your Excellency, the importance of data cannot be overemphasized in ensuring sustainability, ensuring that there's transparency, ensuring that, as ED said, the right technical standards, the systems are being run properly over time. We've also, the RESCOs will tell you that, when we started, because of the foreign currency components in the equipment, we initially started with disbursements in Naira, but after some time, we decided to switch back to the USD component to make the transaction more viable and be able to reduce that currency risk. The last one, most importantly, and what everybody has really emphasized, is the productive use, and emphasizing productive use. When ED said, powering these communities is really life. It's a human right at this point, and we always say that we don't even feel that there's any community that is not viable, because once you teach people, you sensitize them of what they could do with their lives by just having access to that light, you'll be amazed at what we'll get out of it. So from the NEP, we had electrified over 7.8 million Nigerians, and there's one data set that I love to emphasize, which is about 100 megawatts deployed in that project. And just to show you the sheer level of skill that we're trying to scale up on, for the DARES project, we have a target of 465 megawatts. But Your Excellency, today I'll tell you that with the agreements we've signed with RESCOs, we might even have about 3 times that with the project that we're about to deploy. Next slide, please. So, Your Excellency, this gives an overview of what the DARES project is about, how we deploy across various components. But I'll specify here on the collaboration with states. The MD mentioned earlier about the NESIP, which is the National Electrification Strategy and Implementation Plan, which seeks to bring together all the states in one conversation, one plan, one fund, and see how through this technical assistance we can help each state in capacity building. Because through that Electricity Act, each state now has powers over the electricity market. But do they truly have the capacity almost immediately to take on that responsibility? So with the expertise that the REA has and with the resources that we have, we've created a framework by which each state can benefit from that technical assistance. And not only just for the sake of theory, but we also have a component which is a rooftop deployment in subnationals, where once you pass certain criteria that has been set, which is also in line with the NESIP, we are also able to electrify some state facilities, state healthcare facilities in the state, and that criteria is readily available for states to look through and comply with. Next slide, please. So, Excellency, in order to achieve the scale that we truly desire, we have looked into, as we said, how to operationalize this Electricity Act. We're also looking at various partnerships in terms of various funding platforms. One major thing to reiterate here is what I said earlier about making payments and sustainability. The model we deploy here is a results-based financing platform, so that the 750 million is really and truly meant to catalyze over $1.5 billion worth of private sector financing also into the sector. So what you'd see is that the RESCOs, when they sign grant agreement with us, they are able to then raise funds based off of that grant agreement to deploy those assets, having skin in the game and running those assets for the number of years where they have the agreement. Next slide, please. So, Your Excellency, what do we need from states, and how can we ensure that we can have ease of doing business in this ecosystem in states? The first is all regulatory and licensing barriers for either access to land and other regulatory permits that we have. Your Excellency, as you said, the state is constantly improving in this regard, so I'm sure we'll have no issues. Also, in the aspect of security is one major area that we also look into. In the current program, what we've done is to also model our grant amounts around these certain parameters: access to the site, the difficulty in accessing the site, whether it's security or otherwise, to see what grant amounts to place to those sites. I've spoken about innovative financing platforms, and to stress this, Your Excellency, we would just like to say that in areas such as the healthcare and education, we would like to see where states can help us to also guarantee the payments for these O&M services. When the federal government has paid a large sum in ensuring that we deploy these assets, we want to ensure that the states are also committed to the long-term O&M of those assets. Then there's the community sensitization, which I sure we do through the ministries within the states. And then the last part is the interconnected mini-grid, Your Excellency, that the MD spoke about earlier. We see this as a way of ensuring that the on-grid has a handshake with the off-grid in terms of the way it's deployed, making the grid more reliable and more resilient as we go along. So the good part of it, Your Excellency, is some of the key projects that we have deployed in the states. A number of them in these hospitals, as I mentioned earlier on, Ghana General Hospital, the Cottage Hospital in Mayo Belwa, the Cottage Hospital in Fufure, which just to emphasize that system is powering the entire hospital. We also have the General Hospital in Newman. Just in December, Your Excellency, the MD approved that we go back to these hospitals to increase the capacity utilization of these hospitals, and that's been done. That's been completed as of December and are all working. And the last, Your Excellency, which we hope will be commissioning at some point this year, is the 5 megawatt Modibo Adamawa University project. Your Excellency, just to say a few things about this university project is that it's not just the power that we deploy, we also retrofit the distribution network within those universities. We also build a world-class training center to train students within the universities. Those students, STEM students, are taken through the whole process of the construction of those plants. Because, Your Excellency, we keep talking about skill, but do we have the expertise out there to actually sustain? Is what we are trying to achieve there. Next slide, please. And so, Your Excellency, where are we today in terms of the DARES 750 project? We were live in December. We've opened the portal. So we have a lot of the rescues that are here, and the pressure is on us, Your Excellency, to start signing those grant agreements. But I think after listening to the MD, I'll take his advice. We should really start signing those grant agreements, Your Excellency, before we have one-on-one, so that we don't end up signing everything to Adamawa State. God bless you, Your Excellency.
Well, what do you expect from the land of beauty? Thank you very much, Femi Akinye-Lure. Please put your hands together once again for him. Just a note to the renewable energy service companies that are here, Rescos, please, if you want to speak, there's a lady in green walking up and down. Her name is Delphine. Kindly indicate to do so. Thank you. On this note, Your Excellency and MD, I'd like to invite the Executive Director, Corporate Services. I'm not going to say the youngest. I'm not going there. The Executive Director, Corporate Services of the Rural Electrification Agency, Ayoade Boyega. Please put your hands together for him.
See, I have to be helped up. It's not easy to be 185 years old. Good afternoon, Your Excellency, or are we still in the morning still? And the Executive Director, REA, and the member of the Adamawa State Executive. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. There are three issues that I would like to firstly address. The first one, I will not really delve into it, is the issue of the jollof rice. It is Ramadan. Please, let's not talk about food. The second one is the age one. Yes, I am older than the 180 years that the ED spoke about, but I'm not as old as the 300 years that I mentioned later, so I'm only 185 years old. We have cleared that. The third one is the football issue. The Adamawa State Governor, Your Excellency, you have scored 3 goals against the REA today, and we appreciate you for it. I'll explain. The first goal is your timing. You got here before every one of us, so you had to wait for us for a few minutes. We're sorry, but that's the first goal. The second goal, sir, is the goal of sustainability, which I'm here to talk about today. We have 2 areas of sustainability. The first one is capacity development. You have already established a training center in Adamawa that will train 1,000 people on a yearly basis. So you are prepared, sir. The second one is also in line with sustainability, developing local competence. You have already signed an agreement with a company that would come and build a PV panel assembly plant in Adamawa. That is another one. So, to the MD, sir, you cannot continue to lose against state governors. 3-0, 2-0, it's not really good for your reputation. So today I'll be talking about sustainability for energy transition. But I think the guy made a mistake while putting this together. We have to look at sustainability from 2 different angles. The first angle is we talk about sustainability of the projects. All the projects that are going to be built in Adamawa State or across Nigeria, how do we ensure sustainability of these projects? When you look at sustainability, you have to look at sustainability from 4 different angles. Financial sustainability, technical sustainability, which EDTS spoke about, financial sustainability, which Femi spoke about now, and also you talk about social sustainability and environmental sustainability. For us at REA, we have put together something, a framework, to ensure that we build sustainability into every single project that we do. And we are here to support Adamawa State government and all them to apply this same framework across every project that is being built. It is called the REUs, the Renewable Energy Users Cooperative Society. What does the REUs do? So you have the ownership and accountability. Those are the roles that the REUs will look after. Revenue collection and the financial management, maintenance and the system longevity, community engagement and awareness, local economic empowerment, and social inclusion. I believe all these are self-explanatory, except I want to delve into it. What are the 3 main issues that we face as a country when it comes to infrastructure sustainability? The first one is, most especially in the power sector, the first one is energy theft. People use energy, but they don't want to pay for it. I think we have come to a point in our life as a country that a decision needs to be made, whether we see power or energy as a social responsibility or as a commercial product that people really need to pay for. I think it's a general belief in the country that when you see power, we believe the government should just provide it. It should be the government's responsibility. But we cannot sustain power, or most especially the infrastructure that we are building, if we continue to have the mindset that the government should continue to pay for it. We should start having that mindset, or we should start moving away from that mindset and going to a mindset that says, you know what, it has to be a synergy between the government and the people. The government pays part of it, and the people too must show commitment and pay some part of it. And then we talk about infrastructure vandalization. That has been the bane of our problem in Nigeria. Every day you go on TV, you see one transformer vandalized here, another power plant vandalized there. We cannot really sustain anything in Nigeria if we continue with this attitude. But what REA has done is, in Yoruba parlance, it says, it is the thief that knows how to catch the thief. If you give this project back to the community, they feel part of it. So they protect it better because they know amongst themselves who are the thieves that will go and vandalize it. So that is why we have set up this structure, to ensure that going forward, the community feel a part of the project and they just don't leave the project there and see it as the federal government project. That way, they are able to protect it even better because they protect it jealously knowing that it is their own and they are part of the entire thing. So we do the community engagement, we do community sensitization, we ensure that they know how much they need to collect for the power that is being used and how to reinvest that money back into operation and maintenance of that particular plant. There is a particular situation a few months ago that they mentioned that a power plant somewhere had an issue, and the amount to fix that power plant at that point in time was a meager 100,000 naira. But it was abandoned. The community abandoned it. That means that particular power plant, that particular infrastructure was just there, not being used because of 100,000. It is because a framework like this was not in place for collection and reinvesting that money to maintain that same power plant as it goes along. So I would implore the Adamawa State Government, Your Excellency, to look into this and see how we can adapt it if it's not already been adapted, how we can adapt it, and if it's been adapted, we should scale it through all the projects that we are currently looking to develop in Adamawa State so that the people feel a part of it. Next slide. So what does REUX do for us? It enhances system reliability, financial resilience, which I just spoke to, cultural fit and local adoption, scalability and replicability. So we are able to scale it up. It's easy to scale up and replicate in each of the community that is being designed for. So we move to the next slide. I think this is the one that's really is important to me. Okay, no, let's move on to the next slide. Let's not waste time. Okay, here. I think it's a point. I think at this point we need to reflect as a country, and I'm saying this with all sense of honesty. In the last 2 years, the renewable energy sector has generated globally over 16.2 million jobs. Globally, China has taken about 7.4 of that, which is about 46% of jobs created within the renewable energy sector. Followed by which country? I think followed by Brazil, and then the rest of them. Africa have only been able to create 326,000 or 340-something thousand jobs from this, 324,000 jobs. Nigeria with a meager 76,000 jobs. And then we talk about investments in the renewable energy sector. REA, like the MD mentioned, we talked about $2 billion. The EARTs, for the EART project, we are looking at another maybe a billion. Femi sitting here with about $750 million that will be crystallized by the African Development Bank with another 1.something billion or $250 million. That's another 1 billion. Plus other initiatives that will take the amount of investments in renewable energy in Nigeria to over $10 billion or close to $10 billion. And we only have 776,000 jobs to show for it. It's not enough, and it is unacceptable. I think it is time for governments, whether it is in the state or at the federal level, to start looking at diversifying skill sets and creating that skills like Femi mentioned earlier. At REA, we are doing a STEM project as we build the university, the captive power for the university. We build a hostel, we build a training center for equity purposes so that the female can participate. But how many are we able to produce? Maybe from that STEM school, from the Adamawa one, we'll probably get about 200 students. The Excellency mentioned it will create about 1,000 jobs from the training center on a yearly basis. But is that really enough for over $10 billion project investment in Nigeria? No, it's not enough, sir. So we have to look at that and do more. I think you have all the RESCOs in this room today. I seek a partnership between the RESCO and the Adamawa State Government in creating something that would ensure that not only that the RESCO would come and build, create a framework for making sure that for apprenticeship between the state government and the RESCO. So while the RESCOs are building infrastructure, they train people to have hands-on experience, not just through the classrooms. Hands-on experience on how to build mini grids, how to maintain solar panels, how to even maintain the batteries. The Excellency has spoken about how he has I'm happy about it. He's spoken about how he has developed a training center which will create about 1,000 jobs. But we need to do more, sir. We need to leverage the current opportunities that we have to ensure that we don't only plug the access gap, but we use that to generate more work for our people. Nigeria is a country that has a lot of unemployed youths across every state that you see. All these youths that are unemployed can easily move into the renewable energy sector and get gainful employment, and then be able to generate economic power for themselves instead of facing yahoo and the other vices that we don't like as a country. So please, let's not just make this like like His Excellency said earlier. I just don't want to make this a talk show. Let's not just make it a talk show. Let us start to take practical actions to move the country forward and to generate the work and sustain projects that we are building in Nigeria and in the renewable energy sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Executive Director, Corporate Services of the REA. Well, it's all REA, because we really need to tell you about what we do, and to invite the next person to come and tell you how do we get this data, and what platform do we use to get this data that is very necessary in planning, is Mohammed Jibril. Can we put our hands together for him, please?
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. Good afternoon, MD, invited guests. I'll also crave your indulgence to stand on the already established protocols. My name is Mohammed Jibril, and I am a technical advisor to the Managing Director. I am from the neighboring Gombe State, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, the MD, unfortunately, I don't have any jokes. The MD, the EDs have finished all the jokes, so I'm just going to go with the boring presentation. Pardon me for that. The MD and the EDs and the head of the NEP they've already spoken about our programs and the opportunities within REA, including the $750 million funded by the World Bank in a program called DARES. I'm here to speak about the opportunities in Adamawa. MD had already showed some slides with a number of communities, where they are, and one wonders, how do we get them? How do we come up with this? We are a federal government, we're just in Abuja, but we have eyes everywhere, fortunately. We're trying to show the potential sites within the states, which automatically translates to potential businesses for the many great companies that are here, and it also translates to economic freedom for these communities at the end of the day. Your Excellency would wonder how we identify these communities. In the past, we relied on mini-grid developers going in, finding these communities, doing stakeholder engagement. They would come to us and we'll tell them, look, this is not really viable, or this is really close to the urban centers. How could you want subsidies for communities that are already maybe even connected to the grid or are very close to the mini-grid? So we had some really good filters that would tell us this is a viable community that is far away from the national grid and has some economic activities, has some productivity, and that we showcase them all over the country. From my blurry presentation here, you could see the red dots covering the entire country. This is a VIDA tool, a company that we're working with in identifying and mapping the entire country, identifying the communities that are both on-grid and off-grid. They use a satellite system, so they don't malign anybody. They're not sensitive to any division or anything, so they're very objective in identifying communities. You could see from there, we have about, this blurry area here is showing 27,763 sites that have been mapped. We're already working with VIDA to expand this mapping to consider smaller communities because communities grow. I think every time we update it, you will see the number of sites increase tenfold. So we're working with them to even increase this. But from this version that we have, Your Excellency, you could see that we have 27,776 sites. And when we go to filter it, we have some filters here with state, local government, number of buildings, distance from the national grid, show of light at night. All these are filters that would allow us to focus on one area of the country. If I go to Adamawa and I apply the filter, just doing some demonstration live to see how we get this result, you would see that we have about 696 sites in Adamawa. This has now limited the number of sites in Adamawa. We would, inshallah, update the state with a more current figure on the sites and where they are and their names, the number of people within them, the number of buildings, the number of educational institutions, and all of these are showcased within this video mapping tool. From Adamawa, we can further go down to say, select a local government, and I would just randomly choose Madagali. No sentiments here. No sentiments here, Your Excellency. Your Excellency would see the sites within Madagali here. I could come to this section where there is a lot of sites here and maybe type Gulag, also random. And we would see that Gulag would come out here. If you zoom into Gulag, it shows you the community, it shows you the educational institutions here, it shows you a hospital here, it shows you another educational institution, primary, secondary. This is an off-grid community, on-grid community, but we have so many of them that are both on-grid and off-grid. We can tailor this filter to allow us to see where communities are, the kind of subsidies they qualify for, and it would also be an avenue for us to tell these developers that, look, we already see the numbers here. If this community has 1,000 households and has about 20 or 30 productive users, either milling rice, I've been to Gurin once and I saw so many rice millers in Gurin. I saw cars coming from Cameroon to take rice paddies back in. We can testify to the productive nature of Adamawa, and this is what developers want. At the end of the day, we have carefully designed these filters on the tool, and that has helped us in identifying communities that are viable, that are productive, and they have this massive potential to grow. And these communities qualify for a level of subsidy depending on all of these filters put together, distance from the grid, some of these attributes that they have, and by just multiplying the number of connections you can establish within that, you could come to the $750 million man to get so much subsidies as you can get, and that's what developers are actually looking for. Your Excellency, the keywords here are private developers, which means FG can only provide subsidies. The other keyword is investments. So we're expecting private companies to also raise some money to come and deploy the systems. To them, they are businesses. So Adamawa State Government, I think, would, from your speech, has already guaranteed the support, the safety for these businesses. On our end, we've already also declared some of these subsidies and support that would give to these developers. At the end of the day, I immediately see a win-win-win situation. A win for the state for aiding the development of their communities, a win for the developer who sets up a successful business, and a win for REA for fulfilling its mandate of electrifying Nigeria one community at a time. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, MD.
Thank you, Mohammed Jibril. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been REA, with, of course, a blessing from the governor of Adamawa. But right now, we'll still go to the land of beauty by inviting the to give us the review and prospective policies for Adamawa State's evolving electricity market, the Adamawa State's policy consultant, Sharafuddin Usman. Please put your hands together for him.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, Right Honorable Amadou Moro Fintri. Good afternoon, the MD of the REA. Permit me, Your Excellencies, to stand on the established protocol. You know, being the state consultant on energy policy has been a humbling experience for me personally. I'm the MD of Prem Plus. I'm by name Engineer Zahraddin Usman. The MD said something at the beginning of his address where he said the governor never knew who the consultant is. And up to this moment, until now before I came to this place, the governor never cared to know who the person is. This is just to show you who the governor is. But mind you, from the day we started work on this, I have received questions from him, I think more than 4 times. What is the progress? How is the job coming up? So thank you, sir. We appreciate the opportunity and privilege to work for you, sir. I'm just going to run through a very short slide quickly because we're just working on the policy, and can we just have the next slide, please? Like we know, the national grid capacity is never enough, and we've been struggling with 4 gigawatt only, 4,000 megawatt, which most of the time we don't get to transmit the whole of it. For us in Adamawa, we are at disadvantage because of the insecurity. Apart from the continuous grid collapses, we kept having incidences of vandalism along the Gombe line and all that. So it's a terrible experience for the people of Adamawa in terms of energy access. As an advantage, Electricity Act has provided us with the opportunity to set up our own electricity market in Adamawa State, which a lot of states have already started setting up their market, and Adamawa State, with the blessing of the governor, has started in earnest. Can we go to the next slide, please? This is just a brief on what the Adamawa energy landscape looks like. The demand is around 253 gigawatt hour. This is estimated by the SE for All tool. And then also the estimated population of Adamawa is about 5.2 million. This by the estimation of the Adamawa Bureau of Statistics 2023 estimate. The MBS projected by 2030 Adamawa population will be around 6 million people. So we can see the trajectory. In the next 5 years, the population is growing by more than 1 million. The cost of electrification estimated by the SE for All for Adamawa State by 2030 will be around, this is almost $1 billion. This is a lot of investment required to electrify Adamawa States. Can we go to the next slide, please? Now, YEDC is the disco that supplies energy to Adamawa State. Unfortunately for YEDC, this is a data from the recent data published by NAC for the November 2024 monthly energy received by the discos. 44 gigawatt hour of energy was received by YEDC, which is giving an average of 1,493 megawatt hour. Now, comparing that with what Yola North local government, the estimated energy demand for Yola North, just the state capital alone, is around 913 megawatts, which is more than 80% of the daily distribution. And mind you, YEDC supplies to 4 states. They are not supplying to only Adamawa. They are supplying to Borno, Yobe, Taraba, and Adamawa as the 4th state. Can we go to the next slide, please? You know, like it was earlier stated, Adamawa State government approved the development of a sustainable, inclusive, and implementable energy policy that is tailored to Adamawa State. The governor was very clear with the mandate. it has to be something that is sustainable. It has to be inclusive, and it has to be tailored to the needs of Adamawa states. We cannot go and copy and paste a policy from another state because Lagos has a policy, we go and copy. No. What the government wants us to do is to have something that is tailored to our needs. And because of that, we started with a 3-day technical workshop. A technical committee was set up comprising of representatives from the YEDC, the TCN, the Rural Ministry of Rural Infrastructure, which is a representative of the REA in Adamawa State, people from the academia, from the Modibo Adamawa University, and also the State Polytechnic as well, Upper Benue, River Basin, and across relevant ministries, departments, and agencies of government that have anything to do with. We just concluded the workshop, I think, on 21st of this month. It was held between 19th and 21st of February, last month rather, 19th and 21st of February in Yola. A lot of insights came out from the workshop and a lot of recommendations which we're considering as part of the policy. We will soon call for a general stakeholder, hopefully maybe at the end of this month or early next month, for a general stakeholder where we will invite all stakeholders, including consumer associations, market associations, and whatnot. Can we go to the next slide? Now, just a brief on the aim or the policy objective for Adamawa states. We try to establish some key policy objectives for the Adamawa state electricity policy, which are as follows: universal electricity access by 2040, power supply reliability targets. We will have power supply reliability targets, rural electrification and infrastructural development targets. This is very key because most of our communities in Adamawa, especially northern part of Adamawa, is suffering heavily because of lack of transmission infrastructure that has not even reached there, which covers about 5 or even more local government. I think it stopped at Song or somewhere. So we have Gombe, we have Maiha, all the northern part of Adamawa is nearly off-grid, we may say. We'll also have to look at renewable energy targets, share targets, target date and size of renewable and rural electrification funds. We are looking at the possibility of having a rural electrification fund for the state. Energy management strategy, state autonomy in electricity generation and distribution, private sector participation, which is why we're here, which is very key. And for Adamawa State, we want to promote competition, because with competition comes lower prices, improved access, and all the benefit that comes with competition, with the competitive market. More investments will come in. Sustainable financing and investor confidence. The governor has already made it clear that we can take his word to the bank. You will get all the support when you are coming to Adamawa State to invest. Regional cooperation and cross-border power trading. For us, we're located in a strategic location. We have Cameroon to our border, and we have our neighboring states, which we will assist because of our massive resources in trying to give them more power or supply the excess energy we'll be generating in Adamawa State, hopefully. Customer satisfaction and empowerment is key. Local content development. For customer satisfaction and empowerment, I would like to tell you that when the ED was talking about community engagements, Adamawa State has an existing local government citizens engagement and participatory planning policy. This policy has been signed off by the government, and it's already in place. So apart from the rules framework that we may be adopting, we already have an existing local government citizens engagement and participatory planning policy in the state. So our governor is forward thinking. Yes. Gender equality and inclusivity, which is very key for the policy, and then research and technology innovation for energy access. In the workshop we had a lot of discussions with the people from the academia on researches, on what they are having, and there were a lot of insight on the research they are doing on bioenergy. There was, I think, the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering was there, the HOD of Mechanical, the HOD of... It was a very interesting conversation there. There are a lot of researches they are doing in Mautech on biomass and bioenergy. Now, on the implementation roadmap, we're looking at short-term, medium-term, and long-term plan for the policy. The short-term will be having the regulatory framework and initial investments. The medium term will be expansion of the infrastructure and expansion of renewable energy projects as well. And then also by 2033 to 2040, we are expecting to have full electrification and market maturity. I think this is a more realizable target. Now, for the incentives, the governor has talked about the incentives, so I'm not going to delve into it. It has already been discussed. So can we go to the next slide? Now, risk management and financial structures. So as a fallout of the workshop, a lot of insights and recommendations came out, and we're looking at some of these as some of the risk management and financial structures that we'll be looking at. Promotion of project securitization, asset-backed collateral security, collaboration with financial institutions, and collateral requirement for electricity projects, which some recommendations say up to 70% RE infrastructure. Energy justice, when we're talking about promoting the productive use of energy, this is key for Adamawa State. The governor has already banned deforestation. We already have a policy that has banned deforestation in Adamawa State. So what we are after is to stimulate productive use of energy in our rural communities and collaborate with also our academia to see how we can promote better cooking, clean cooking for our communities in Adamawa State. We want to encourage efficient technologies as well, energy technologies. Then you create utility scale grid tight renewable energy systems as well, which will be interconnected mini grids and so. Also, we are looking at in the long term grid tight energy storage for enhanced grid stability and reliability. Implementation milestones, stakeholder engagement on the first year, establishment of the State Regulatory Commission, development of regulatory instruments, transition from NAC oversight to the state regulator, and the establishment of Rural Electrification Board. The Rural Electrification Board establishment is key for our collaboration with Rural Electrification Agency. This is part of the Electricity Act recommendation for states to have a Rural Electrification Board that will collaborate with the Rural Electrification Agency, and also licensing the state electricity distribution company. Now for year 2 to 5, we're looking at establishing a competitive retail market and appointing a distribution system operator, promote renewable energy integration and regional cooperation, improve grid infrastructure and financial approaches, attract IPP, set up dispute resolution mechanism, and creation of the local government electricity committees or consumer forums. And then conduct of a baseline study. What we are looking at is beyond the national IRP that the federal government has done. We want to see where we have a state IRP for Adamawa states. This will provide us the necessary data to encourage investors to come to Adamawa state to know where and how their investments can be recouped. By year 6 to 10, we're looking at achieving 100% electricity access, increase in renewable energy mix to 30%, which is the national target, enhance regional cooperation and cross-border power trading. Like I said, Adamawa State can power the whole of Northeast. The governor mentioned recently an investor came and expressed interest to set up a 300 megawatt system in Adamawa State, which is beyond Adamawa State need, and we're looking at the possibility of exporting such to our neighboring states. Via the National Electricity Regulatory Commission, which will be subject to the NAC regulation. Then ensuring a sustainability of electricity supply, and then can we go to the next slide? Market performance indicator. So part of the policy is to look at what will be the key performance indicators in determining whether there is success or not. Adamawa State also, it will delight us to know that Adamawa already has an established M&E framework, which was signed since 2023 by the state government. So it has made our job easy, or easier rather. So part of the performance indicators we are looking at electricity access rate, power supply reliability, customer satisfaction, which will be measured by declining complaint volumes, RE penetration, distribution loss reduction, energy efficiency savings, and revenue collection efficiency. Can we go to the next slide? Now we're looking at a kind of structure of having a state electricity development fund, a local government electricity committee, electricity offense special court. So there are recommendations around setting up mobile courts for electricity offenses. I think this will be key for the government to look at before we conclude on the policy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Zarahuddin, exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, also from the land of beauty, we have a presentation on renewable energy opportunities in Adamawa State, and this will be done by none other than Honorable Commissioner of Ministry of Works and Energy, Honorable Adamu Atiku Abubakar. Please put your hands together for him.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Adamawa State, our very own Project Master, the architect of New Modern Adamawa, the two-time award-winning Governor in Infrastructural Development, Right Honorable Ahmad Umar Fintri, the MD and management of REA, my fellow colleagues present here today, developers, renewable energy distribution company is here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a good afternoon to all of us all. I think one of the disadvantages of speaking last is that most of the points you'd like to cover have already been captured already. Certainly the MD and of course our dear Governor and of course the energy consultant must have covered most of what I would like to share with you this afternoon. But having said that, I'll quickly run you through a quick presentation of what we have here for you today. What we have here first, on the first slide, is an overview of Adamawa State. As we all know, Adamawa State is located in the northeastern part region of Nigeria, sharing an international border with Cameroon. Of course, we're blessed with abundant land, mass totaling about 40,000 square kilometers, and abundant resources conducive for renewable energy development, i.e. solar radiation from the sunlight, hydro, and biomass. Our estimated population, as earlier mentioned, is at 5.2 million from the Bureau of Statistics 2023, with the youth demography of over 63%, representing 25 years and below, signifying a very, very, very high energy demand for education, employment, and entrepreneurship. Some of our social indicators, obviously, unfortunately, are the high levels of poverty, the low human capital development, as we have obviously discussed earlier. It's not just peculiar to Adamawa State, but it is peculiar to the entire country. Hence, our governor's proactive initiative of setting up a training facility to train over 1,000 persons yearly. In addition to that, of course, we all know Adamawa State's diversity to a very rich cultural heritage with more than 100 indigenous ethnic groups, providing a vibrant, dynamic society. Next slide, please. Now, what you have here is our economic and financial status. A quick overview of our economic profile. We have a GDP estimate of 2.66 trillion naira, which of course is the largest in northeast Nigeria. And the key sectors that represent this are agriculture, trade, and emerging industries. Emerging industries such as the Dangote Savannah sugar plantation. We also have Bua, who is coming up to set up a cement factory in Guyuk. We also have the Adamawa Beverages, and surprisingly also we have Coca-Cola, who are just back in the state and are now bottling and producing Coke. Not to talk of the Nemo Foam, who produces mattresses. Our financial overview. It will interest you to know that since the assumption of office by our dear Governor, Right Honorable Ahmad Umar Fintri, we have been able to ramp up our IGR from 9 billion in 2009 to 17 billion in 2023. while our debt profile has obviously gone down drastically from 132 billion in 2021 to just 83 billion in 2024. I think again it deserves a round of applause. As we all know, the FAC represents a major source of revenue for the state, and most states obviously are dependent on the FAC allocations, and hence we need to highlight the potentials, opportunities in diversifying to other revenue streams through local activities and investments. Next slide, please. So I think His Excellency had mentioned some of the highlights of major achievements in his administration. Now, we have been ranked from the 5th poorest state in 2019, averaging at 75.41% poverty rate, to 16th least poorest country in 2022, averaging at 68.7% poverty rate. Adamawa has also been ranked top 5 in the country in the Fiscal Transparency League table, and first in the Northeast. And we have risen to 10 places in the ease of doing business, from the 21st position to the 10th position, actually, not 11th, so that's a mistake. We have also massively and hugely invested over in excess of about 3 billion in trying to electrify communities in the rural area. In addition to that, we have also massively deployed a lot of financial resources in lighting up the state capital, alongside, of course, local governments, in installing solar integrated power street lights. This is, of course, migrating from the conventional street lights, who of course have been on the national grid, and we're gradually migrating from that into renewable solar powered integrated street lights. And of course, we have also budgeted about 3 billion to continue this migration. Again, of course, we have invested heavily in energizing some of our health care centers with solar PV solutions. So these are some of the highlights of this administration. As mentioned earlier, we have invested over 3 billion in some of our rural electrification projects, and these are the names of some of the areas where we have had this intervention. Next slide, please. The consultant did make mention of the electricity supply and demand for Adamawa State. Like in every state in the country, we're heavily reliant on the national grid, which of course is always either having power outages every now and then and insufficient coverage. For example, on average, what we get from Adamawa State is 40 megawatts from YEDC, while our daily demand is at 176. So this obviously is grossly inadequate. So there are definitely significant gaps in the electrification, particularly in the rural areas where you have the unserved and underserved. So the key challenge is obviously an inadequate transmission and distribution infrastructure, leading to losses and inefficiencies. We have been able to, of course, His Excellency has been able to invest hugely in distribution networks, but unfortunately, even at that, those communities are yet to be energized. So that's an area and a business opportunity for some of these developers and investors to look into. Next slide, please. So these are some of the renewable energy resources that Adamawa State is blessed and endowed to have. As I said earlier, we're blessed to have a high radiation, which of course is at an average of 5.5 kilowatts an hour per meters square. And considering we have a land mass of 40,000 square kilometers, and if we can have that average of 5.5 kilowatts hour per meter square, you can imagine the magic and the good things we can do in Adamawa State with regards to installing mini grids and interconnected mini grids. In addition to that, of course, we have the hydropower, where existingly we have almost 3 to 4 dams, which of course some under the state government, some under the federal government, are still yet to be fully operational. So that's another huge opportunity. In addition to that, we have the micro hydros that can also assist in generating some of this energy, bridging energy gaps, because and to meet load-based demands of communities around riverine areas. Of course, biomass, we have the energy plants, and we have energy from waste, which of course can be looked into as well. Now, next slide, please. The distributed renewable energies. This we got from a study which was carried out by Sustainable Energy for All, and it does indicate that there are about 114 potential isolated mini-grid sites identified in the states. So this obviously would provide energy for remote communities, which will enhance economic activities and of course improve quality of life, and thereby reducing energy poverty. Interconnected grids, it says we have about 358 potential interconnected mini grids identified in our states, but of course they're just there laying idle, and this obviously can also provide enhanced security, energy security in remote areas, peri-urban areas, facilitate community-based energy management, and support economic activities through reliable power supply. We also have embedded systems, and next slide, please. I think the MD, obviously using his advanced mapping tool, has actually identified key areas of investment opportunities for the state. So I don't think I would bore you too much with this slide. But having said that,